It's the Jita Interviews, the premier global IT solution podcast, where we talk to the CEOs and business leaders who are growing their companies through global partnerships. I'm your host, Emery, the Executive Director of the Global IT Alliance. Hi, and welcome to the Jita Podcast. I'm Emery, and today I have the pleasure of being on site here in Brisbane, Australia, with the Managing Director and CEO, Brad Colledge of Data3. Data3 has been a member of the Global IT Alliance since the beginning, 11 years. And Brad, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, Emery.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
I mean, we can't celebrate more here on site. Great weather, birthday, so it's a great time to be here.
And welcome to Brisbane. So we put on another beautiful, typical Brisbane sunny day for you.
Yeah.
So it's great to see you.
I know you've been in this role now for a little over a year. How's it going?
Yeah, fantastic. It's I can't believe it's already been 14, 15 months. So that's the CEO MD role, and it's been fantastic, and it's been great working with the team that I've worked with for so long. It will be in October this year. It'll be 30 years that I've been with the business. Yeah. So it's been nice to evolve and have my career with Data3, and now being a CEO and MD and being on the board as well, and part of those discussions. I'm really enjoying it. It's fantastic.
And when you look at that change in now being truly in the trenches and doing that, what's the biggest thing that stands out for you?
Overall, the external perspective that we have of the business from so many different stakeholders. So when you're an account executive and sales rep, you're dealing with specific customers, and you're educating them about what you do over the years, what the business does, what the value proposition is. Being a CEO MD of a public company, there's so many other stakeholders, including the investors and the analysts, and just continuing to educate people on what the business does, the values of the business, the vision of the business, and helping their customers with specific business problems. It's a different approach, and I quite enjoy the fact that I get to do that now, but also still reach down into the detail with our customers when I need to.
So you've got a variety of different customers that you're serving now in the new role, and I mean, Data3 was one of the original members of the Global IT Alliance, and we've been working with the team here for over 11 years. One thing I've always thought of Data3, the personnel on board and the senior leadership over the years, is a very customer-centric approach to everything. Can you expound a little bit on what that looks like today and how you guys are doing?
Our core purpose is to enable our customers' success. So customers have always been very center to everything that we do. And as part of that, we have a very well-developed, I guess, customer satisfaction, customer feedback loop throughout our customer satisfaction surveys, the surveys that we do during and at the end of a project. We also conduct what we call our Juice IT events, which are industry events about squeezing the most out of your technology investment. And we'll have over 1,000 people attend those events, and the feedback that we get from those allows us to remain customer-centric as well. So, and then you overlay that with the standard industry analysts' information from the IDCs and the Gartners and whatnot, and we get a fairly complete story, which is nice.
I tell you, most of our partners would love to have 1,000 customers attend an event. So kudos on that. I've heard that event is really remarkable. So congratulations on that. Many of our partners globally have had to adjust from the traditional reseller model into a service provider across the board. Can you talk a little bit about the evolution here at Data3 and what that was like?
Absolutely, and we're no different to that. When we actually started back in 1977, originally as an IBM marketing contractor. Wow. And developing software for the mid-range. But then as we evolved and the advent of the PC in 1984, Data3 leaned in heavily with that, particularly around the IBM PC at the time, and then client server technology. and then we developed our Microsoft relationship. So it was it became very product centric
Sure.
around the end user device. Our relationship with Cisco from the networking
Right.
perspective. So we always had a really basic managed services environment, which is more of a help desk contact center more than anything.
Sure, sure.
As we've seen those technologies change, and as rather than say deploying technology, a lot of the technology now is in the cloud. So we're not deploying the technology, but we're helping the customers to consume the technology in the cloud. So now we have customer success teams, and then integrating into our managed services. So our managed services now are really quite advanced and developed around managing everything from the multi-cloud environments, whether it's multiple public clouds or hybrid cloud with the on-prem servers and the cloud, through to managing the network and managing the end user device. Over the years, we've invested quite heavily in the systems and the software to manage our customers, but also in the processes associated with that.
Sure, sure. That makes a lot of sense. And when you look at the grassroots of all of our organizations, it's the sellers, it's the people who are in the seat, so to speak. Was that a difficult transition for some of your veterans to say, I love selling the memory stick, and now I need to sell managed services? What was that transition like?
Yeah, it's a typical bell curve to a degree. Some at the top end of the bell curve just took it on naturally.
Sure.
We've always had services. We call our project services professional services, and we've always had a consulting team and then managed services. So we've got multiple services businesses, and some of our team had always had services quotas and product quotas.
Sure.
And so they were able to take on the newer, more advanced managed services a lot easier than those that some of them just had product targets. We still have some that just have product targets, but there's a lot less of those.
Yeah.
And most of our people have both product from an infrastructure perspective or software perspective and a services target. And then we have one of the key changes was in certain territories, we have a number of dedicated services sellers that are those specialist sellers for managed services or professional services or consulting.
Okay.
And so there's the specialist sellers, but then also, building up our pre-sales team. So our pre-sales team then supports, and we have over 50 just in our pre-sales team for Australia.
It's a great size.
And across multiple technologies, and they will then support the traditional product sellers on their transformation through to services sales.
So you've got coaches along the way
with the pre-sales teams, and then of course our vendors assist in that process as well.
Yeah. How much as we sit here today, the hottest topic is the tariffs, right? And how that is affecting our industry in particular, when you think about that. And that, I think, is part of the overall evolution, not just within the channel, but that the OEMs have had to make, the service providers had to make, et cetera. Can you talk a little bit about that transition for them, how Data3 has partnered with them along that path, and what the tariffs might mean to you or not mean to you currently, as we all hang in peril?
Yeah, absolutely. So our traditional vendors and how they've helped us on the journey with managed services. Yeah, so if you take, for example, Microsoft, and then we'll talk about Cisco and HP.
Yeah, please.
Microsoft have a program called Azure Expert MSP.
Yes.
And in Australia, there's only like a half a dozen of those. Oh, wow. And I think there's only like about 100 worldwide. And it's a very high level cert to be able to achieve. And Microsoft helped us on that journey to achieve that Expert MSP certification for Azure. And what that did is it also helped us mature our overall managed services operational processes and systems to be able to obtain that certification. then enter Cisco, and Cisco have helped us develop out solutions for managed network, for managed wide area network, local area networking, and security solutions. With HP, we've got HPI and HPE, of course. HPI from a device perspective in terms of developing out our device as a service offering.
Sure.
And we use HPFS, which is actually part of HPE, to help finance the overall solution for the customers where that's required. So those vendors, just mentioning 4 of them, have been very, very critical to the overall develop of the managed services. The last piece would be on HPE and Dell.
Yeah.
So HPE, of course, have their GreenLake offering, so annuity-based server and storage, and that fits in beautifully into our overall managed services offerings. And now Dell have Apex, their Apex solution as well. So the vendors have been very central, I guess, in terms of building out our overall managed services offering, and also differentiating Data#3, because we compete against specialist managed services businesses, even globals, that's all they do, but they're not resellers. They don't have those relationships with the vendors that we have. So we can consult, we can provision the systems and the solutions from those vendors, and then manage them for them. So it's working really well for us.
Yeah, that's great. And I have to call out the fact that you guys have really done an incredible job with the GreenLake solutions around HP. I know that you're, if not one of the leaders, the leader globally in that. And I know this because whenever we have a board meeting, everyone's asking you, what's your secret to the GreenLake working? Can you expound on that a little bit for us to kind of talk about what's been really successful in your formula around that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it does come back to really just understanding the solution and understanding the customer, and actually being really proactive in terms of when the customer comes to you to buy some extra capacity, whether it's in the cloud or on-prem, then having that discussion around what's possible. And that's what our teams have done really well. Particularly in Tasmania. We've been Tasmania, one of the smallest states in Australia. Our team has been able to articulate the value. So it really is, as for want of a better word, as simple as leaning in and understanding that, and not being afraid to have that customer conversation.
So many are intimidated by it, and it sounds like that's not the case here, which is to your credit. Let's shift gears a little bit. So as all of us know, Microsoft has changed the landscape when it comes to the reseller channel and the traditional sellers of their licensing, et cetera. How's the adapting going to the new model, if you will? And what is your focus when you think about what Microsoft's trying to steer everybody to right now?
It's an interesting situation. Being the largest partner in Asia Pac is, from a revenue perspective, provides challenges, and we have provided a whole bunch of feedback directly to Microsoft, as you'd expect.
You're hearing a lot,
that's our job. In fact, I'm back in Seattle in 2 weeks' time, and we'll continue that journey.
I'm sure.
However, there are 2 parts to the equation. Microsoft are decreasing incentives associated with enterprise agreements, and they're increasing incentives in other areas around cloud solution provider, around the security, Copilot, and Azure migrations. They're the key areas. So where we've been very good over many years, with whether Microsoft changes or other vendor changes, is just that agility to be able to pivot and change with their programs. So we've been actively engaged in each of those areas where Microsoft are incenting more.
So
we're benefiting from that, and now we're doubling down on that.
Makes sense.
We're doing more CSP, particularly into commercial mid-market. We're investing more in our security solutions. Doing more. We're actually invested in CSP platforms to help us scale across that SMB, and even help with Azure migrations in that mid-market space through a systems and process perspective, rather than having to put on a whole bunch of people to be able to deliver on that market and provide efficiency for our customers in terms of onboarding them, but also being able to do that in a cost-effective way. So
you were ahead of the curve, clearly, and you had those plans already. So it was just expanding those plans. No one saw the shock of their decisions ahead of time, but it sounds like you were well prepared for it. So that's great. Sticking on the security topic for a second, I cannot go through an interview without saying the two letters AI. So when you look at what's happening in the landscape here in Australia and around AI, around Copilot or chat or whatever it is, lots of security measures around it that are not being addressed. Do you have a plan on that? Do you have an offering around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like years ago when we were helping customers transition to the cloud,
Sure.
the first part of that was understanding what the cloud meant to our customers. And that's exactly where we are with AI now. We're helping our customers to understand AI, understand the technology, understand their data, and what putting AI over their data could do, or the information that it could service up that they may not want to service up from a security perspective. So really early on, we actually participated in the Microsoft early access program for Copilot in Australia. We were actually only partner in Australia to be invited to participate in that, which was nice. So we got a 6-month jump on everybody else in terms of understanding the technology, what was required. So now we're going into customers, helping them look at their environment, providing basically a readiness assessment, and looking at their data and their infrastructure, and then identifying individual use cases within their organization in terms of how they could apply AI within their organization.
And I'm sure that's a huge help for them, and of course then infiltrates the rest of the business, and you're looking at the whole thing. So that's great. I want to shift gears again. As I mentioned earlier, we've been working with you for 11 years with Data3. And one of the things that I've always been really impressed by is the corporate culture here in the organization. One of innovation, clearly, by everything we've talked about so far, but the fact that people here have a very long tenure with the organization. I met with some folks yesterday that it's their third iteration with the company. They left, realized they made a horrible mistake, and came back. So talk a little bit to me, and has that culture maintained? Is it changing at all under the Brad Colledge leadership? How do you kind of talk to the culture?
We have a fantastic culture, so I hope it doesn't change under Brad Colledge leadership. So
do no harm. Rule one, right?
We have many very established programs. Heart is all about. We talk about the heart and soul of Data3.
Yeah, I love that.
And heart is about our values, and then soul are all our community programs as well. So even just last week, we were recently part of the Channel 9 telethon for the Mater Children's Hospital, and helped participate in that. We had people answering phones and whatnot. So the cultural aspects are very important. We still have flexible working, but we've got flexible working with a bit of responsibility. So and that's working really well across the country, and we get great support from our people just by listening to them, allowing them to participate in the programs that they want to, but also then complementing that with development programs. And we've just recently implemented a new learning management system, and the uptake of that learning management system just in the last 4 months has been 2,000 courses accessed in the last 4 months. So,
that's fantastic.
So continuing to invest in our people has been key to that as well.
Do you have an adjustment to the return to work policy? So some companies have said 5 days, some have said still flex. What's the policy here, and how's it going?
Yep. So we finally did move the dial at the beginning of the year. We actually gave people 6 months notice, and in Australia, the school year starts mid-January. So we gave people 6 months notice that from the beginning of January, we would like you back in the office 2 days a week.
Sure.
Only 2 days a week, and that has been received well.
Good.
You can see the collaboration happening.
It matters.
It's really important, not just for the business, but for the individuals as well.
Oh, for sure.
And we're seeing great collaboration within the teams and across the teams, but they then have the flexibility across the other 3 days. So what we're seeing there is that some people are in the office 5 days a week.
Sure.
Some are just doing doing the 2 days.
Yeah.
And others are doing whatever is right for them.
Working for them, yeah.
In that particular week. And we've also got, as all organizations do, different profiles. So all our engineers are mostly out on site anyway,
Right.
Working with customers, so they're not in the office. A lot of our account executives, they may be in at customers. People don't really know whether they're not necessarily at home.
Right.
They're working.
Sure.
They not necessarily have to be in the office. So
Right.
It's a matter of just looking at the different profiles as well, and managing to that. And at the moment, well, our CSAT survey was the best ever again this year. We just completed that in February after we'd already made the announcements.
Wow.
So if anybody
great.
had anything to say, they had the opportunity.
That'd be the time for sure. Yeah.
So it's actually working quite well. I think every organisation needs to make the decisions that's right for them, but we were just careful not to turn the dial too much.
Sure.
And just see what works for us. And at the moment, it's working really well.
Yeah, and you hear every version of that, right? From a lot of the companies we deal with, both customers and partners. And I find the ones who have kind of dropped a hammer to say back 5 days, if you look at the new up-and-coming culture of employees that might be just entering our industry, they're not going to tolerate that. They're not going to go work for a place where it's demanding they're there 5 days. So I applaud you for the flexibility around that. I think it will matter in the longevity. So last part of this is personal to you. Every one of our board members has, something other than work, fortunately. And I know yours over the years has been sailing. Something I would never do because I can't swim, so I'm not going to sail. But can you talk about that passion that you've had over the years? Because it's so intriguing to me. And I just recently I shared with you yesterday, I met a gentleman who also does this. He's out of Hong Kong. So talk to me a little bit about what that's like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice distraction because, as you know, the industry can be pretty intense.
For sure.
I've been competitive sailing since I was 8.
Wow.
As my father sailed, my grandfather sailed, and whatnot. So that's been, I guess, part of just what I've done every year. However, I sold my boat about 18 months ago. So it's actually nice in a way because there's a lot of it's not just the sailing, but it's the maintenance, it's everything else associated with that. It's actually really nice having my weekends back for a little while.
I'm sure.
But
his family probably loves it too.
Yeah. To a degree. And, but it's also nice that because I've been involved with it for so long, I still get invited back to sail every now and then, which is great. So it's fantastic having all care and no responsibility.
Sure.
Because it's not my boat. So I'm still enjoying sailing, but not the commitments every weekend, because in Australia with the summer, it goes from 1st of September through to Easter. So it's a fairly long weekend, long season rather.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a little bit more free time.
That's great. You're in trouble when your wife says, "Why don't you go sailing?"
That's it.
Absolutely. You've into your time. Well, Brad, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for having me in your house, so to speak. And we're thoroughly enjoying our visit. So I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. And you're welcome at any time. It's been fantastic to see you.
This has been the GITA podcast. Thank you for joining us. Look for us on LinkedIn and on our website at www.gita.com. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening to the GITA interviews. To find out more about the Global IT Alliance, please visit www.gita.com or follow us for more great interviews.